Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Good evening. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case, and I have a very special guest, a friend whose name is Zoe Ma, and she announced her candidacy for mayor of Chicago last Sunday. Zoe, welcome to On the Case. Zoe, are you there? Well, Zoe?
Can you see me?
I can see you now. Welcome to On the Case.
Thank you for inviting me here.
You're welcome. So last Sunday, you announced you threw your hat in the ring, and it's very crowded to be mayor of Chicago. And you're going to be joining mayoral candidates Susana Mendoza, Alderman George Cardenas, Mike Quigley, who's a congressman, Maria Pappas, who's Cook County treasurer, Liam Holberg, who's an entrepreneur, I never heard of him, and perhaps the Illinois Secretary of State as well, Alexei. Now, how do you feel about running against all of those people, and why did you decide to run for mayor?
Well, I think, first of all, I want to say I came to this country 32 years ago as an immigrant. So I'm a first generation immigrant that I have a very unique experience and the perspective. So I will definitely bring a new insight, a new energy to this campaign.
All right. And you were born in China, right?
Yes, I was born in China.
Mm-hmm. And you're 56 years old.
Yes, I actually just celebrated my 57th birthday not long ago, last month.
Oh, 57. Oh, you don't look 57. You look like you're a teenager. I want you to know that.
Well, God really blessed me. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So why do you want to be mayor of Chicago?
Well, Chicago has been very generous to me. When I came to this country 32 years ago as an immigrant for graduate school, I came with only $40 in my pocket. In 32 years, with hard work, community support, and investment in real estate, I have accomplished my American dream. I live in one of the wealthiest wards in city of Chicago. With all the Chicago gave me so much opportunity, but I also acutely aware those opportunity is not available to every youth in city of Chicago. Just like a 25-year-old me 32 years ago. Their kids was lucky enough to inherit the opportunities, and their kids, their future are determined by the zip code, not by the ability. So I feel I won't be the mayor to fight for the equal access to opportunity for all youth in city of Chicago. And my own experience show evidence that they can be accomplished, that everyone in city of Chicago can realize their American dream when given the opportunity.
And so you've been working a lot with youth?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, I came as a 25-year-old. And to study, my goal came when I came to Chicago to pursue my graduate school study is to learn how to end poverty. Back in 32 years ago, when China experienced widespread material poverty, I was led to believe American is a land of opportunities, and there is no poverty because everybody have equal access to that opportunity. And then when I started my graduate school at UIC, which is surrounded by so-called projects back in the 90s, I just realized those opportunities were not available to everyone. And so now I'm in my 50s, and then I see the young generation. Many of them are doubting their future. And I just took upon to myself to show that as 25-year-old, given the to the access to opportunity, they can thrive. And especially if the youth in the South Side and the West Side, they were fighting for that opportunity for a long time. And I have the opportunity to visit many wards in the South Side and West Side and working with them. And at this event, some of them came to my kickoff dinner, and they opened up themselves. They were talking about their struggles, the difficulty to find a job, the mental health struggles. Some of them, they were so excited. They took mic twice to talk about their experience, and some even started dancing right in front of the crowd. I was happily surprised that they feel so comfortable. And I feel that those youth have such a talent. And given the right opportunity, they will thrive. And when you thrive, Chicago shine.
Well, it wasn't just teenagers there, or not teenagers, but young people there. There were women, middle age, and some in their 30s, and some in their 60s. So I was just surprised at the breadth of the age difference there.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just very lucky that I can connect with everyone
Hmm.
because we are all human beings. We have the same struggle. It doesn't matter our skin color, our age, our income. You see the Chinese, those my supporters. They are from the suburbs. They are willing to help. Uh, I think we are all ready to work across our age differences, our race differences, our income differences. We want to build Chicago. Chicago is so beautiful. I think it's the most beautiful city in the whole world. I want to be the ambassador for the city of Chicago for the world. As
And
be a
so how
mayor, I will be in that position to promote
okay.
Chicago at the world stage.
Okay, so now how would you handle the immigrant problem? Mayor Johnson had a lot of problems at the beginning of his mayoral term because of the governor in Texas sending all of those immigrants there, and it really busted his budget. How would you handle that?
Well, America is have back when the first immigrant riding the Mayflower to the shore of America, there's the natives opened their arm to all immigrants. God created this universe, this land for all of us to enjoy. So I welcome all immigrants. But on the other hand, when there's our own native people are also experiencing the same struggle as the
Mhm.
immigrants, finding
Yes.
shelter, fighting for food, fighting for job opportunities. If there's an extra, in the past, the government always say, "Oh, we don't have money for helping our unhoused people experience food insecurity." But when suddenly the government give us millions and millions of dollars, let help us all. We have a right, immigrant or native, we all have a right to make a living. So let's share that budget. I will take care of the immigrant as well as our own native.
So, but how do you balance with Mayor Johnson? African Americans were furious. Many of them were furious with him for helping the the Venezuelans. How would you have handled that, and how would you handle it if it happens again? Because the governor from Texas may do it again.
I would feel like, what, we have equal opportunity. Let's put all the resources together. We divide it. If we have 500 our own unhoused native Chicagoans and 500 of the migrants, I will help them all. I will not give a preference to one group over another. God make us equal, and God created this land for all of us to share, and all the resources it will available to everyone on an equal basis.
Okay. So how was life in China for you
You mean 32 years ago or 2026?
growing up?
You know what? I was born as Muslim from a working class family. Growing up, actually, contrary to many of people's belief, I receive a lot of TLC along growing up. People always ask me, why you have such confidence? I say, you know what? I was lucky to be born to the best zip code in the world as a working class minority Muslim, because the government policy at that time was TLC for all the minorities, especially the Muslim. That actually, I was from a working class family living in a non-Muslim metropolitan city. I have equal access to quality education. My parents was working in factories, so my actually the city I grew up is one of the sister city of Chicago. There were two sister city for Chicago, Shanghai and Shenyang. Shenyang was more like Detroit of China. So I grew up in the heydays of Shenyang, being the center of heavy industry, the manufacturer center. So growing up, I have nothing but fond memories, and those experience gave me the foundation to thrive when I immigrant to United States. The situation in America is for an immigrant is not very um, uh, quite challenging. But not only I survived, I thrived.
That's awesome. Now, what is the official religion in China?
Well, the socialist China practice atheism. The government have a law to prevent any children younger than 18 years old to be indoctrinated with any religion, regardless if it's Buddhist, Taoism, Christianity, Islamic, just nothing. Just believe in socialism and Karl Marx.
I did not know that. Okay, but you grew up Muslim. That's very interesting.
Yes, and Hui Muslim is one of the largest Muslim group in China. Back in when I grew up, we were the largest. We are twice as large as the Uyghurs that most people know about the Chinese Muslim group, the Uyghurs living in Xinjiang province. We were the largest in China, spread all over in every province in China. Our ancestors came during the Mongolian Empire. The Mongolian Empire brought a lot of Central Asian soldiers, craftsmen to China.
Mhm.
And then some of them just decide to settle down and marry to Chinese. And the emperor forced us to marry with local Chinese and Mongolians and adopt Chinese last name, spoke Chinese. Um, so that's why after 500 years, we look like more Chinese than Central Asian.
That's very interesting. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of with Zoe Ma right after this.
Great day. It's your girl Asada here to introduce a new female solution show called Asada Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way Asada says it should be done. See you then. Peace right here on the Female Solution.
We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case, and my guest is Zoe Ma, and she has announced her candidacy for mayor last Sunday. And what was the name of the restaurant?
New Farama in 2828 South Wentworth. It's my favorite spot. And so many people really feel they discover a gem in Chinatown.
Well, I finally ate a little bit, but the people ate all the food. But I had a little piece of little bit of the, I guess you call it vegetable rice.
Yes,
It was excellent. I want you to know that.
yes.
Excellent. So tell me something. We're having a problem with teen takeovers.
Yes.
How would you handle teen takeovers? And should parents be held accountable?
You know, probably you do not know. I have been a part. I a part of the largest teen takeover in the world in historically. Back in 1989, I was one of the 500,000 college students went to protest in Beijing at Tiananmen Square, and we took over the Tiananmen Square for 1.5 months.
I
So
covered that. I covered that. I do remember.
yeah, I
So
was a
what was that like? What was that like?
it was a party time.
Party time.
Yes, for most of the 1.5 months,
Mm.
it was party time, and I actually rode on a train for 30 hours because I went to college about 32 hours train ride from my university to Beijing because one of my roommate's brother was in college at the time in Beijing, and he was on hunger strike. And so I, being a student a leader, went to Beijing to support him. But we were all welcomed. Getting off the train, walking out of Beijing train station, the residents of Beijing line up on the street applauding of our arrival. So it was a great experience. The best thing I ever did is be part of the teen takeover in China in 1989.
That's true. Now I remember, if my memory serves me correctly, I remember that some of the students were killed. Or was I wrong?
Um, as a Tiananmen Square itself, almost nobody killed. For we all, I went to in and out of the Tiananmen Square twice in the month of May, and then I remember a day or two after I arrived in Beijing, the government issued a martial law. Even the whole Tiananmen Square was under martial law.
Yes.
We still had our party, but the police was nowhere to be found. And the residents of Beijing, they gave us bread, they gave popsicles, and it was festive at that time. So then I left, went back to my college in the northeast part of China. I came back again because we collect donations in my university back in the northeast, and we brought donations to our fellow college students from our university that stayed in Tiananmen Square for another 2 weeks. the government had tried to negotiate with the student to evacuate from Tiananmen Square, and then the student just basically resist. You know why the joke was?
What?
Most of the students stayed in at the Tiananmen Square were not from Beijing. It was like me from outside of Beijing. And because there was a lot of donations from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and America, they can first time in their life they drank Coca-Cola, so they would not leave the Tiananmen Square, because if they leave,
They wanted their Coca-Cola.
They will not have Coca-Cola anymore.
That's
So
funny.
that's why they stayed. And then right before the government eventual order for evacuation, there was a pop star, rock star from Taiwan decided the second wave of protest. And so everybody came to the Tiananmen Square to listen to his concert. So the experience was surreal.
It was a party. It sounds like a real party, because I was really worried about the students being shot,
So actually there's another layer to that event. Because I was part of this historical event, and the eventual outcome, the ending, was surprise to all of us. And we were very confused because we went there to demand end of government corruption. And that was, and the equal access to economic opportunity. That's why I was there. And so when the movement failed, we were surprised, and it actually led my decision to come to United States 3 years after I graduated from college. But I did study research. Actually, another layer that not seen by our naked eye is the cross relationship between China, the Beijing government, and Taiwan government. The Taiwan government sent their spies to sabotage the movement. So there's a lot of things going on. Back in now China is a superpower, but in the 80s and the early 90s, China was just weak tiger, because the little Taiwan was bully China, Beijing government at the time. They want to unify China from their ends. And now the Chinese Navy couldn't even go through the Taiwan Strait. They have to go take a long route out because they were afraid of the Air Force and Navy from the little island of Taiwan.
So now their relationship is okay, or what?
I think right now the role reversed. Before, Taiwan was the big bully. Now the Beijing government have the upper end, so they have to work it out. But we all want a peaceful relationship between these two, street, because I have family who live in Taiwan, because at the end of the Civil War, my mom's cousin moved to Taiwan along with all the defeated armed forces of the previous administration, government. So for 70 years, they were barred from communication with one another.
Wow.
Now the relationship has improved, but it was very hard because of the armed conflict. It's part of the Civil War. So the movement in 1989, the Taiwan government at that time sent their insurgents into the mainland China during the movement, and they were captured by the Chinese Beijing government and sent to prison. And when these people were released, I think 17 of them sued the Taiwanese government for compensation, because they were promised to compensation if they were ever arrested. And the Taiwanese court awarded them, I think, about $3 million of something to this 17 insurgents who were arrested. So
Okay.
that's why I know that's another layer of this whole movement that we didn't know anything about it as a student.
Okay, let's fast forward to Chicago. What would you, if you were mayor, how would you handle the teen takeovers in Chicago? What's the answer?
Well, I feel the teens, just like I was as a 19-year-old, want to protest in Beijing and then participate takeover. Youth are actually barometer of the economic situation that family experienced. So we had to look at it from different perspective: the teens, the parents, the school, the community, the police. Parents have done the best to support the kids when they drop off the kids to the school. It will become a teamwork between the school and the parents to nurture the students, to teach them the right values. So I think it's a teamwork between the teachers, the parents, and the community as whole to listen to the voice of the youth. You hear at my kickoff, the youth talking about the struggle they are being through. Sometimes it's much more complicated than just they're hanging out. I think that's just a symptom of their cry. We need to listen to them and meet their needs. Many of the kids do not receive the support they need, dealing with the struggle they are facing. The world is very complicated than the world I grew up in, and I sympathize the kids. As a mayor, we have to build this coalition from parents, the school, community, and the police to help lay a foundation for the kids not only survive, but to thrive.
Now, Sunday, you told me that perhaps what's needed are more after school programs, sometimes 24/7. Can you explain that?
Yes. Many of the kids, I don't know how many you actually ask them. The kids have a different biological clock. Their day starts sometime when we get off work. The day starts at 5 p.m. And even though city has many resources like libraries, park district, and after school program, but they close when the youth just start their day. So we have to have something that meet their schedule. Start over 24/7. They give them a space they can explore and learn and study. So the city cannot close at 5 p.m. Probably we have to meet the kids, have some community centers, park district, designated 24/7 community centers that kids can come, relax, socialize, exercise, and provide the security and space for them.
Now, would the parents have to give permission for them to do that?
Well, I think parents probably should notify, this is going to be a teamwork between the park district, parents, and the school. So we have a seamless transition for the youth from home, school, to community centers, that we provide a safe passage from the home and school to community centers like park districts.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more with Zoe Ma right after this.
housing for the homeless. Because my little brother, in which we're doing this documentary for, Douglas Robinson, your death will not be in vain.
He was a heck of a great dude.
And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case. And my guest is Zoe Ma. She has announced her candidacy for mayor of Chicago. She is a 57-year-old woman. I don't know if you're a mom. Are you a mom, Zoe?
Yes, I am.
How many children?
I have one.
Okay, a son, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. How does he feel about his mother running for mayor?
He's very proud of his mom. You know, it's not easy. I will be the historic first generation immigrant, Asian American woman, and Muslim. So with all these titles, he's very proud of his mom.
Well, that's great. That's great. Now, Zola was talking about homelessness. What would you do to end, or can you end homelessness in Chicago? It's been around a long time.
Yes. I think Chicago is one of the richest cities in the world. Has a budget probably bigger than some country in the world. So there's no way we should have homeless issue. My background is real estate, development of affordable multifamily housing. So my experience actually can help solve this homeless issue in Chicago. Nobody should be sleep on the street. No human being should be treated without dignity as those unhoused people in our city. Chicago has been experiencing displacement even before the transformation, plan for transformation in the early 2000s. But now the homeless situation is getting even worse. I think we have to treat it as two layers. One is affordable housing and against displacement. I think many of the part of the city experiencing the development boom at the expense of displacing families. We need a community benefit agreement to make sure no development will cause the displacement. Look at the 27th ward. Back in the 90s, the majority of residents living in 27th ward are African Americans, and then experiencing high rate of poverty. Now 27th ward have received so much public subsidy to increase the development in the past 2 decades. Yes, the 27th ward become almost the second richest ward in the city. But the
Which is the richest one?
The 42nd ward.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's where I live.
Which is remapped. It used to be out south. It's up north now, right?
I think yeah, it's moving north, but still in home to Cabrini Green, Jackson Square, those neighborhoods, but also home to Fulton Market, West
Okay.
Loop.
All right.
So those
So-
places have very high property values, and many of the working family cannot afford. So they are being displaced. You look at that's why 27th Ward moved from a ward with more lower income residents to mixed multi-ethnical ward. So I think we have to look at into city public policy that causing development at expense of the working families being displaced.
Okay, and I'd like to thank First Lady Reba Soul for tuning in. She said she had the same idea about the 24/7 programs for youth. And there was another person who called in. John Alexander, the famous photographer. Thank you, John, for tuning in. And he wants to know, what experience do you have to run the city of Chicago?
Well, City of Chicago has been run by politicians for the decades. So those experience that those politicians talking about haven't improved the Chicago a bit. My experience is coming from a different cultural background, economic background, give a fresh look of city Chicago. And I'm a more solution-oriented individual. I built my life from $40 in my pocket back in 32 years ago to someone living in the wealthiest neighborhood in Chicago. That experience alone can help Chicago.
Well, might you become another Mandami and surprise people and win? Do you think you can win?
Yes, I can, because like Mandani, we are grassroots movement. It's not just a campaign. We represent the people. We meet where peoples are. We provide the solutions to end the poverty and disparity in Chicago. It can be done.
And so, what about education? What would you do differently about education? And are you satisfied with our educational system?
I have talked to a few kids in the past few months. I talk about their experience. Some of them are still in high school. Some of them have graduated from high school. Those who are in high school, I asked them, what would you like to do when you graduate? Some of them want to be in trade, want to be an auto mechanic, but he said he can't afford to have another pay for that kind of education after high school graduation. So I think we need to reform our curriculum in the Chicago public schools. We should have two tracks. One is college tracks, another one is trade tracks. For not everyone feel college education is their calling. Many of the kids who want to go into trade after high school, instead of waiting to be trained after high school, we could have a feeder program during the 4 years of high school, build some basic schools, basic skills, trade skills, and then feed them to the apprenticeship with union. So, and then right after that, they will be, right after high school graduation, they will be in the program that working with the union, even in the police department. Now we have trouble finding recruiting for police because we could use the youth be trained. I have one youth in the military high school. Well, I think that could be a good feeder for being trained the police that actually work with the community to build a relationship with the community, since they are from the community. So I think yes, um, we need to reform the our priorities in the school
And
to
I have
meet where the needs for the future.
absolutely, and I've been talking about this for a very long time because out in the suburbs, what in high school I went to, they had a program where the school partnered with business people, and the students did work, have their little work and be trained. And when they graduated, they had a job. And I've always said, why can't we do that in Chicago? Why can't we have a partnership with corporate Chicago and have the same kind of program? What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. That's what I've been talking to many of the kids. Couple weeks ago, I met a kid play drum in the intersection of Roosevelt and Ashland. To just want to raise a little money to buy a sneaker, to go
Mhm.
to a birthday party. I feel it was so dangerous. But the drive of that kid, he actually called me even yesterday. He said, Zoe, you can come to see me at the Ashland and Roosevelt. And I say, did you try to find a job? Because I've been helping him to connect him with, the summer program that a 14-year-old to 24 can enroll one summer program that I
Yes.
try to connect him with. It's dangerous for a kid to play drums on the intersection. And but you see, those kids want a different alternative, but they do not have because the high school. He just graduated from high school. He's 20-year-old. His name is Gabe. When I put his name on my phone, is Gabe the drummer. Just to me, it's very sad. Then when this kid graduated from high school with no skill to be employed, and then we need to change that. It's a waste of talent.
There used to be, and I forget the name of the employees, but there used to have a system where if students didn't show up, employees would go out and find them and bring them back. But that program was ended. And a few years ago, it was reported that there were over 60,000 students who should be in school, but they had dropped out. They disappeared. How would you prevent that from happening?
We have to, I think that's what we are talking about. A school has like a curriculum does not meet many of the kids. Maybe those, like you said, the 60,000 students who would not show up for school. There's
Mhm.
many reasons they are being absent from school. Maybe one of these, the curriculum is not engaging. Building a school that the kids feel there's a future, that they can build a school, build the skills, that they can apply the skills to jobs in the future. Another thing is many of the students still is experiencing homelessness, issue at the homes, and they're poverty. They are couch serving from one friend's house to another house. They have many things on their mind. They are in the survival mode. I think the school have to look at those issues.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more with Zoe Ma right after this.
this woman never stops, okay? So that is why she needs to be the next mayor of Chicago, and I'm here to support her.
I'm gonna say that again. Zoe has a genuine love for Black people.
So I'm here on behalf of Zoe Ma. She invited me out. I met Zoe Ma down at the weekly build-a-thons that we have.
Zoe Ma. I think she is our role model. And then we already mentioned she's talking. But now next step, we all stand up, support Zoe Ma.
Zoe Ma!
We're back.
Leaders of nonprofits empowering worlds. Let's go.
But the vision that God gave me, I felt that it was time for me to step out and work on the vision that God gave me.
We need look no further. We have a unique voice. We have a unique talent pool.
Peace and love. I'm Michelle Renee, host of Education Nation, live on the Female Solution Global Network every second and fourth Sunday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. The intention of Education Nation is to raise awareness about the literacy crisis and to offer information to combat the problem. The goal is to awaken an army of reading coaches and mentors. You will experience guests who are doing their part in the community to ensure youth in their circles are reading and thinking critically. I look forward to serving you in this capacity. Literacy is freedom, and Education Nation will offer information and strategies to help ensure our young people stay free.
We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case. Zoe Ma is such an interesting person, absolutely. But we have a serious problem right now. Although crime is down, supposedly down, shootings and violence are up. And another 14-year-old boy was killed yesterday. Can you stop this?
Okay, so we have to look at the true picture of Chicago. You know, Chicago, actually, we have the richest wards, the top 5 richest ward, and the top we call it the top wealth ward and the top need ward. Where are those shootings are? We have to look at that. They are not in the top 5 wealthy ward.
It goes by zip codes in the Black wards and the Hispanic wards.
Yes. So then we look at what those wards, how it different from the wealthy ward. There have a lot of vacant homes, border homes, vacant lot. The commercial corridor is struggling, almost non-existent. There's a high rate of youth poverty, and then very low the property value, and very low tax revenue, and a high police expenditure. I'm trained as a sociologist. I came to study sociology, focus on what causes poverty, and here by the comparison you will understand. the youth poverty is correlated with the crime. And we cannot police the poverty, police the poverty out of youth out of poverty. We have to invest them, give them the future. Instead of spend millions of $200 million in police overtime, the violence prevention program, we could invest in our youth to give them, end the youth homelessness, give them job training. That selling drug is not their main employer. I was told when I was visiting residents at the Cabrini Green, the kids were not allowed to sell candies, but they were being turned a blind eye when they were selling drugs. So we have to look at the root of such violence.
So what are you saying? The police turned a blind eye when they sold drugs?
Some residents will say that.
I believe that because I had a source in Robert Taylor Homes at the time, and he told me, no, it was Ida B. Wells, I'm sorry. He said that he could sell drugs all he wants to, and once in a while the police will arrest him. And I said, well, why sometimes? And he said, because it would make him look bad. So he had to be arrested a couple of times. And I had another source in Robert Taylor Home where he told me that he got arrested. And when he went before the judge the next day, he said, I knew I was going to be okay. I said, what do you mean? He said, I sold the judge drugs last night. So we have a lot of work to do. But again, how are you going to deal with the gun problem? Who is supplying our children with these weapons of mass destruction? And how can you stop that?
I think we have to hold both parents, school, and police department and the community accountable. So children under 18 should not have access to guns.
Yeah.
And then some of them holding gun as badge of honor. Our schools, our parents should teach them that is not badge of honor to have a gun, have in possession of a gun as a young person under 18. And I think we need to get those guns out of youth.
How are you going to do that? Some parents, I'm told, are afraid of their own children because they have guns. Then they bring money into the house, and I think that's wrong for them to allow that to happen. But they're afraid of them.
Well, then we need to look at a juvenile reform training classes. We need a school to teach that. Yeah. The parents are working hard to put the food on the table, put the roof over their head. The parents is doing the best they could. But during the waking hours of the youth, they are in school. So school need to have that kind of training and tell them the consequence. School and the police department need to drill to those kids. Having a gun when you're underage is not a badge of honor. That only to destruction. Tell them let them give them the truth.
And so, what about
an alternative?
Right, absolutely. What about the smash and grabs that's going on? It's hurting small business people. I mean, that's very, very troubling to me.
Well, still, they're coming to the question of youth employment. We don't give a chance for them to support them. When my son turned 16 years old, he was able to work in any of the fast food restaurants and get a job. I didn't have money to buy him a TV. His first paycheck, he bought his own, big screen TV. So kids at 16 years old should have a chance. And we're looking at the neighborhood the kids are, those kids, troubled kids live. There's those economic corridors struggling. Kids do not have access to those part-time jobs that actually give them a pride, a sense of accomplishment at a 16-year-old. And kids need a sense of accomplishment, need to show that they are a badge of adulthood is to work and make a little bit of money to buy maybe a big screen TV, maybe the computer games, or a pair of sneakers. We need to give them that opportunity so they do not have to smash and grab of hurting the small business. That's the current situation is a lose-lose situation. We need to build up the small business in those wards that experience high rate of youth poverty.
Absolutely. And do you think this is time for the city to have a youth czar?
Absolutely. When I become the mayor, I will establish a mayor's office on youth empowerment. So put all the resources together to solve these solutions. I think city, they spread their resources across different departments without a coordination. And that's why we invest so much money in those youth, violence prevention with very little outcome to show. So we need to put the resources together as a designated office of youth empowerment, just like a mayor has office of seniors and people with a disability. Youth is our future. Youth deserve the same kind of resources, if it's not more. Our youth is the age group has the least resources and opportunity, and that's why you see so much gun violence actually committed by our youth. It's a sign of desperation, a sign of survival. We should change that. We need to bring hope for them.
All right. And so,
like what I did when I was in China, I feel like I received a lot of TLC when I growing up. We need to show the kids the kind of TLC they deserve so they can thrive, not to survive every single day.
Okay. And so the Higher Learning TV show has tuned in, and she says youth homelessness is at an all-time high, not only adults, but whole families too.
Yeah, that's a very, it's a tragic for city have a budget of a size of a country and have youth poverty and then homelessness. There's a different way to solve the homeless placement quickly and the long term. In the short term, I don't know if you travel around the world. Sometime in Japan and London, when the hotel can be very expensive, the full size of hotel room, they have kind of what is not a cubicle, but it's almost it's kind of slipped my mind, but it's basically capsule hotel. So yeah, I would like just for temporary situations, emerging situations, that we can build this overnight capsule hotel type of house our unhoused people on a temporary situation, so they don't have to live under the bridge in the park.
Yes, and the Lady Soul had a comment. She agreed with you, but I don't see her statement anymore. Oh, she says, as an educator, I agree with your concepts to ensure youth success, and you've probably certainly done your homework to see what help looks like for our youth. I want to thank you so much, Zoe Ma, for being on the case, and good luck on your campaign to become the first Asian Muslim mayor of Chicago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
See you next Friday.
See ya.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.